Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars and welcome to another PlayStation review. Today I'm taking a look at Lost Eidolons that came out originally on the PlayStation 5 in summertime 2023, I believe. And it's a game that I completely missed at the time, which kind of surprises me when you consider that, turn-based strategy games are amongst my favourites. This is one that I just never ever checked out or was even aware of when it was released at the time. I first became aware of this one after watching a video on YouTube, one of my favourite content creators. He was talking about his favourite TRPGs, tactical role-playing games, and this was quite high up on the list, and I thought, well, I have to check it out. So thankfully it was in a sale on PlayStation, so I thought, I'm having it. So I've downloaded it, I've put a lot of time into this one, and I'm ready to give you my thoughts and feedback on it. So it's developed by Ocean Drive Studio. It is a turn-based tactical RPG, and it's set in like a medieval fantasy world. And you play the character of Eden, who is a rebel who turns into like a mercenary leader who gets entangled in a rebellion against like an empire, a tyrannical empire sort of thing. So it's got like grid-based combat, as you would expect in a game like this, reminiscent of other kind of turn-based strategy games. It is quite familiar in that sense in regards to turn-based strategy games that you might be used to in the past. It does have some differences, which we'll talk about. It emphasizes things like strategic positioning and class-based abilities. So each character in your kind of squad has can have a different class. So you've got like knights, you've got mages, fighters, things like that, and they all offer kind of unique skills and progression paths, which is really, really good. They do feel like different fighters in your squad sort of thing. The combat system is pretty straightforward in my opinion, which is good news for you, those of you out there that might struggle with turn-based strategy games or struggle to get into them. But it has got some real depth here as well, which has really surprised me. Because you can unlock, as I've said, various classes and abilities, and it's got like a really cool like weakness system, where certain weapons will perform better on certain armor types on your enemies. So it does definitely add a layer of strategies to the battles. So, for example, there'll be some battles you might be fighting a monster, for example, because there is monsters and magic in this. And it will quite clearly state which weapons work better against that monster. So if it says mages and archers are going to be more effective against this monster, and you start sending fighters and knights against it, you're not going to do as well. It will cause some damage, but it'll be considerably less than if it was a mage or an archer kind of battling this monster. And it's same with the soldiers as well. Some soldiers have got different armors on, so it's more effective to use like axes against them or swords against lighter armors and things. So you've got to kind of adjust your strategy accordingly sort of thing, and I really like that. It does make the battles far more strategic, and you've got this really cool cinematic that plays every time you attack one of your enemies. And it really does kind of make the game far more immersive, in my opinion. And because the game looks so good, and I think it really is quite a pretty game, it does really draw you in. And it's not just like the grid-based stuff that can sometimes get a little bit samey. You get like these nice cinematics that kind of draw you into the battle a little bit more. And the cinematic is good as well because it's not just you against the enemy. You can see in the background there's like people cheering, or you can see battles going in the background. It kind of makes you feel like there's a huge battle going on around you, and it's very, very well done in my opinion. you're going to have to do, or you can do like chain attacks as well on some of the enemies, especially the monsters, because they've got like a bigger health. So if you chain attacks together, you'll take down their health more quicker. So again, it adds another layer of strategy onto it, sort of thing. So the narrative, as I've mentioned, follows the character Eden's evolution from like a local gang leader stroke rebel to like a high figure in like a rebellion sort of thing. The medieval world is quite nicely fleshed out. You've got this typical story where you've got like a mad emperor on the throne, and he needs kind of taking down. There's nothing overly special about the story, but it's serviceable and it does its job. It can be quite a compelling story, and I did quite enjoy the interactions between the characters. I thought that worked quite well. I'm not going to lie. The characters all have got quite distinct personalities, and after each battle, you've got like a camp that you can wander around, talk to characters, go on little side quests for them, and it kind of builds up like your leadership points. So you can use these leadership points to build like a bond with these characters. If you build a better bond with them, you perform better on the battlefield. It's pretty good how it does it. It's quite layered and complex, if I'm being honest. Um, the, the I'm trying to get across really in regards to excuse me, one of the weaknesses here. The dialogue can be a bit cringy at times, and some of the voice acting I think is actually very good overall, but at times, like I say, the dialogue contradicts the voice acting, if you like, and it doesn't they don't suit each other, and it's because it's got that overly melodramatic feel to some of the dialogue that you get a lot in like Japanese RPGs and stuff. Like the melodramatic stuff over the top, and for me it just doesn't work sometimes. But that's quite a minor criticism, if I'm being honest. I think visually it's got quite a realistic art style as well. Which I quite appreciated. Um, excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold. It's got like detailed character models and environments that does kind of help to reflect the grim atmosphere of like this like war-torn land that you're a part of. There are some rough edges here and there. This game has been out like over a year now, so I've had no crashes or game-breaking bugs or anything major, really. I have to say, I think the graphical performance of the game has been, for me, quite impressive overall. I thought I really like the way the game looks. It definitely has got that real quality going for it as well. There is some interface issues, I suppose, but again, a minor gripe there. There is a bit of screen tearing going on and frame rate drops, but it's very few and far between, and it's usually during like really intense battles, and at worst, it kind of reduces the immersion a little bit, but if you're quite a forgiving and patient gamer, it's not going to be anything that's going to bother you, really. There is a variety of difficulty levels, difficulty settings, so you can go into it and put it on like a story mode, which is very, very easy, if you like, if you just want to experience the game from that perspective, and you can also up the difficulty. It's completely up to you. There is options for permadeath. There's turn limits as well you can turn on. I'm not a fan of turn limits in battles, so I personally turned that off. I don't like it when you've got a limit. But if you want to, you can turn it on, so there is a turn limit on most of the battles that you go into. So you can tailor the experience to your own personal preference, and I always like that in a game. I like the fact that sometimes I want to tailor the game to my liking, and you're able to do that here. There is a new game plus mode that's available as well if that's something you're into, and you can carry over your stats and items for subsequent playthroughs. So there is some replay value here as well. I some people don't like like the stuff in between battles. They find sometimes that stuff a bit forced. I thought it was done very well here. Wandering around camps and interacting with different characters, buying things from the merchant. Upgrading your equipment, doing little mini quests. It breaks up the gameplay and the battles quite well, and I liked it personally. Um, it's it's done quite well, I think, this critically when it was released, and I think that there's a reason for that. It is a very well made turn-based strategy game. It's layered, it's interesting, it's got some cool game mechanics going on. It's easy to kind of pick up and play. I think the characters are well done. I've enjoyed interacting with them. I have enjoyed the stuff in between the battles. Sometimes it's hard to get like a turn-based strategy game where they get all the mechanics kind of working to a level where they're all kind of enjoyable. Sometimes you can play them and they can be a bit, oh, I don't want to be doing this. I just want to be getting back into the battle. But it breaks up the gameplay, I think, really quite well. So if you're looking for a turn-based strategy game that has got a real good, strong pedigree going for it, then this is definitely one to check out. I can't believe I missed this back in 2023. I'm really glad now that I have managed to play this one. It's definitely right up there with one of my favourites, certainly of the last 3 or 4 years of turn-based strategy games. It's really good. I like the setting. I like the way they've put the game together. I like the way the game looks. So this is a strong 8 out of 10 from me. So I hope you enjoyed checking out this review, guys. I certainly hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for joining me.